broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello! Hey everybody, we have our final night of Masters of Sex. I can't even believe that. I'm your host, Jenna Couture, and tonight I have with me special Spicy Mari.
Hey guys, I'm Spicy Mari. I'm going to keep it hot and sizzling in here. And next to me is the fabulous.
Hello everybody, Roya Taheri in his house.
Hello! Okay, so we have Season 2, Episode 12, Masters of Sex, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
And Spicy, you were just giving me some education about that title. Let the people know what you just told me.
That was the historical background behind it. So the episode title is The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And The Revolution Will Be Televised was a popular slogan that was going on, or popular saying that was going on back in the 1960s when they were trying to end segregation. And so it was part of the power movement and the struggle. And so Virginia and Bill, there's a parallel because what they are doing is revolutionary, and this episode it did not get televised. So they're making the comparison between Bill and Virginia's work in comparison to the revolution that went on in the 1960s.
Interesting tie-in. I like it.
Yeah.
I was like, we have to get that on air. When you're telling me, like, holy, my mind's blown.
That goes. Yeah, so we open up with Virginia and Masters discussing the results of when he can orgasm, okay? And so they start off with non-sexual touching, which was really cool. And then they go to no expectations, right? Because they're like, okay, non-sexual, no expectations. And then they go into sexual touching, right? That starts working. They start incorporating their genitals, which was cool. And then
it's kind of like middle schoolers making out, you know?
I know, but when you have
first
like
base, second base, third base.
Exactly.
When you have impotence issues, that's the first thing you want to do is take off the expectations and just go, all right, calm them down, keep everybody out of their head, literally. And so their results were 7 nights of non-sexual touching, and then that were successful. Multiple erections, but they didn't do intercourse. Then they did 7 nights sexual touching, again multiple just erections during that time, I think is what he said. And then 7 nights successful sex. So they are considering him healed at this point, which was cool.
Healed or still a work in progress? Because I still got the hint that they still have more and they're trying to figure out why.
Well, I think that he was nervous about saying that he was healed, but I think he kind of was like, it's working, and it was nice to see him finally working after this whole season of not seeing him.
Well, I just love that they actually took notes, and this was an actual research versus the entire season when they've been like, oh, we're doing it for research. Where's the notes,
But I think that it actually gave them a purpose to try to discover the cure for erectile dysfunction, which is funny to see them going through this process, and now we have a pill that you can just pop. So now there's a cure. You can take Cialis or Viagra for erectile dysfunction. So to see them going through this back then, and we're like, we're so lucky now. You can just take a medication for it.
Yeah, but I don't know if Viagra would be able to help. I don't know, like if Viagra helps in all cases if they're psychologically zapped out of it. I don't know. I mean, I guess yeah, but I don't know if there's some cases of where Viagra still doesn't work if they're psychologically not there and they're just too in their head and they just freak themselves out.
Well, that's why Viagra does work. That's why the prescription does work, is because it is able to help bring blood flow to the penis to get you erect, regardless of, all you need to do is just feel sexual and be able to be in that moment, and then it helps with the erection.
I guess. I mean, I know that's what it does, but I don't know. Part of me thinks that, if they're just psychologically not there, I don't know. But you're right. It probably does work for everybody, but I don't know.
I was afraid I was going to actually chime in and be like, personal experience. This one guy, he took it when he was drunk, and it really helped him out. So, a whiskey dick, a little bit,
Oh, whiskey dick.
And that is a problem that happens because alcohol is an antidepressant. So the pill does help with that. But what I was wondering was that if it's a more serious issue that they're not letting us know about what's going on with Bill. Yes, it's psychological, but it could be anything from hypertension,
there's
high cholesterol or blood pressure.
Like the primary and secondary of ED, right? So when they're not able to get an erection at all, and then when they're able to get erections on their own. So I don't know, like the ones where they're able to get one on their own, it's more usually psychological, that the performance anxiety. So I don't know if that's like mind over matter, physiologically your body is responding to the medication. So I don't know.
Well, every time we see Masters having an issue, it's usually because he's been drinking or obviously there's stress involved. But from this point, we hadn't seen him drink at all until the very end.
Alcohol makes you less able to get erect, though. Although it makes you more horny, it's a downer, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So so that it could be part of the problem right there. He's drinking too much.
Yeah. Well,
but Masters doesn't have a
problem.
problem.
But he didn't have any impotence issues. The guy that was drinking, did he? Like outside of drinking, did he?
He had a low sperm count.
I don't remember my personal experience.
Your personal experience.
Well, he was also brother.
This is kind of weird, but he was also on drugs too. So he was having issues. He was going through things, personal things.
Yeah.
So.
No, I haven't seen Viagra not work, but I'm just wondering for I don't know. I don't see too many people for ED because you would go to see a urologist for that, not
He had other issues he was working on.
And we digress.
Okay, so anyways, just very curious about this.
I don't know him anymore, so.
Yeah, so anyways, and then we see Masters, like hallucinate and have like this huge victorious, celebration in his head. He hallucinates himself getting on a car.
Oh, it was a dream. It was a dream.
Yeah.
He was having a dream.
Dreaming. Yeah.
And Virginia was the one that was his Kennedy's wife, Jackie. Yeah. She was his Jackie.
And then he sees Libby at the end. I felt like he woke up a little guilty.
In a red dress.
Yeah, I was trying to understand what that meant, her in the red dress. Was she was scarlet? I wasn't sure what that was supposed to symbolize.
Is he maybe seeing that she's cheating on him in a way, and that's kind of his little red flag?
No, I don't think he sees that. I think that he sees her in red as like he's doing something wrong to her. I don't know.
Or she knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks she knows that he knows?
I don't know.
The mind's a crazy thing.
But there was a lot going on this episode with Bill and Virginia's relationship, from them trying to discover and help themselves with this suffering of erectile dysfunction, in addition to the project that they're working on with CBS.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we see Libby flashing back to her and Robert in there, and she is, what is she? She is flashing back to her and Robert, and
she's also daydreaming.
Yeah,
she's dreaming about it.
Like Libby fantasizing about the sexual positions that they were in.
Leaves the water on. Is like Masters is like confused. He's like, I think he might be picking something up, but maybe he doesn't care.
No, I think he just doesn't know why his wife is all of a sudden distracted. But I don't think that he thinks that Libby's stepping out on him.
She's got a new vibe about her. She's shining. But this is 6 weeks later, though. That's the thing. We don't find out in this episode that it's been 6 weeks because the kids have already gone to Europe.
Yeah.
And we find out from Virginia that so it's been 6 weeks since Libby has had sex with Robert
from Atlanta.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of time has passed.
And I love how Libby's daydreaming about him in the kitchen where they did it.
Yeah. And then we see her go to Core, right, and see their relationship, and she's kind of looking at him like with like bright eyes, like, hi, hello. And he's just like, okay, we need mails, mailing stamped and addressed.
Being
and she's
professional.
Like, yeah, and she's like, okay, I can do that. And she's,
Good for Libby, not acting weird about hooking up with your boss and going with the flow.
She's going for the guy in power, man.
But it's cool to see their interaction, though, because he's remaining cool, and you can tell that Libby was hoping that she would feel special while maybe at the workplace, but he doesn't give in at all if there's an affair going on. But she's hoping for that familiarity, that is there going to be that uncomfortable, awkward moment, and it doesn't happen.
No, but then she visits him at 2 a.m.
Yeah, that should have been right there. Booty call. Did they not have booty calls at 2 a.m.?
It was because she didn't get attention at work. She wanted to make sure that he still wanted her, and that the sex and the desire was still there, because
now, did they just not talk for 6 weeks? Masters of Sex is like
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So of course, when he comes back, she still wants to make sure that the passion's still there. That's why she comes unannounced in her panties. Yeah, it's a nightgown.
Literally.
Which was pushing the envelope for Libby. We've never, seen her that exposed. And obviously, she drove there. She had the coat on over her outfit, so she planned on seducing him that night.
Yeah, and she left her kids behind for him too, which is a very big
This is
move for
a big
Libby.
theme for everybody in this.
Yeah, leaving the kids. The kids should have been a part of our little relationship category, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Or lack of relationship.
Right, and then in the end we see, just to focus on the relationships, Libby and Robert are in bed, so it looks like they're continuing. You know, Robert saying, you know, I just want to apologize for that. I don't want to, you know, kind of keep this going. This is like a betrayal. But then she was like, you know, why can't you just admit that you want me? Maybe you did it because that, you know. So I feel bad that she's like having to like crawl him into bed.
Well, any woman that sleeps with a man doesn't want to feel like it was a mistake afterwards. They don't want to make you feel guilty or that it was trashy or that it wasn't what they thought that it was in their minds. They want to make to feel, you know, special. Yeah. And so I think that Libby went over there not just for assurance because she didn't get attention at work, but to make sure that she could get it once again, that it wasn't just a fluke or a random love affair. You know,
and that it was a mutual
feeling.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, this was like a huge, you know, thing. She admits for the first time out loud to somebody that she's known the entire time that Masters and Virginia have been having an affair, which was like, I was like, okay.
And we always wondered, did she
know?
know?
I mean, we were like, she has to know, but she's so nice to Virginia for knowing that she's sleeping with her husband. And
now, can I play devil's advocate right now?
Sure.
Do you think she knows it's Virginia that he's having an affair with?
Oh,
and that's what I was
200%.
wondering. Does she know? Because the way that she acts around Virginia is as if Virginia is a friend.
Yeah, no, I think she knows it's Virginia. Because Virginia has a way with him. Nobody else would have, nobody could ever get that close to Masters. Like, he's such an oddball.
And last episode, she did see Masters and Virginia interaction when they were talking about on-camera husband and wife. And that's what kind of pushed her over the edge to go sleep with Robert. So I think that at that moment, it was kind of like a dang. I'm going to satisfy myself because my husband has been satisfying himself for these past 4 years.
Get it, honey? Especially in that time when divorce isn't common. Like, she and Robert haven't broached it yet. I'm sure they'll broach it in season 3 since it's renewed. But, you know.
I don't know if they'll even get a divorce because she even mentions the fear of losing her children.
Yeah.
And that's a huge fear with Virginia as well. But
yeah.
Who knows? I don't think she should be afraid of losing the children because I don't think Masters would want the kids.
No.
I'm sure he might want it just for the power. But.
Right. And then we see Virginia and George. I mean, I just think it's so weird that he's coming out of the blue, like wanting. I mean, he's been for the past 6 months wanting the kids and stuff like that. But, you know, she just, you know, they meet at a conference at school, and he's, you know, just kind of broaching more time. And Virginia thinks it's a good idea to like freak him out and get a lawyer. She didn't even really hire the lawyer. She was just kind of getting help from that lawyer, and it totally backfired on her.
I really like George. I think he's finally,
really?
I believe he's changed, and he makes such a valid point to Virginia when he goes, you worry more about your work than your children.
It's all about the work.
It's so true.
Masters has Virginia hypnotized, like brainwashed. Like, it's about the work. What we're doing is important. You mean something. Like, everybody wants to mean something in this big, huge world where there's, you know, 6 billion people. So we want to mean something, you know, and that's both of their ammo is like to mean something, to make a mark in history. And
I don't think that it's just Masters has Virginia hypnotized, though. I think that's the entire reason why she went into the profession is because she wanted to feel as if she had a purpose that was bigger than just being a mom and a wife. And when and that's true. That's first good. Attempt to be a mom and a wife didn't work out and it ended in divorce, I think that she felt like her career and her success was the only thing that she could do and give to herself. Yeah. And so George questioning her parenting, which should be questioned.
But totally.
A lot of parents are in single parent, you know, raising single parents, or in single parent homes and aren't able to be there every single night with their children. And the kids do lack, but at the same time, he's only been interested in his children for 6 months.
Yeah, he's not
just now married, and it's the push from the other wife.
Yeah, and then so then George gets his own attorney, and he's won't sign Virginia's, and her whole thing totally backfired. And so they end up meeting together to discuss this in person, and he's like, forget it, no. And he's like threatening to take all of her. I mean, he's so right. He has her pinned so hard.
Oh yeah.
Because if he took
if
he could prove she's unfit in 2 seconds, a judge would never understand her work.
And he has a 2-parent home now.
Yeah.
Right.
And the kids would even probably say something against Virginia, being like, yeah, she's never home.
And it was revealed to us that he has evidence of her going to the hotel on the late night with Dr. Masters, which further means she is doing more than just work, that it's been personal now.
Yeah, and then Virginia actually has a conversation with her kids, and she's like, trying to fill them out, and she's like, what would you think if we, reversed it? It wouldn't be the same, it would just be reverse. Yeah. Which is completely different. And they were just like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And it just, like, broke her heart. It was sad to see her like that, but it's like, if I'm Virginia and I'm so focused on this study, why is she fighting it so hard? She's not being a great mom. We never see her kids in the show.
Exactly. I don't pity Virginia in this whatsoever because she put herself in the situation.
No, she did. Yeah. Because she does have a choice. At the end of the day, she does not need to be after work carrying on with Dr. Masters. If it really is just about the work, she's doing far more than 100% clinical studies. So she's not making time for her children. And I feel for her because she is a single parent, and she has been doing it on her own because he just now stepped up to the plate. But at the same time, her children are about to be raised by a woman who's only been in their lives for 6 months.
But a woman that wants them. That's the difference.
I know.
This woman loves the children.
Loves them, yeah.
She may, because George says that she loves the kids.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't know if she's just trying to fulfill a void that she has as well. She wants that perfect little cutout family with the kids. What did
lawyer Spleep say she was? Francium, a chemistry, like unstable matter. Like
for
what
Virginia
wives
or for
are. Audrey, like
new
wives. And then we see, then at the end we see her kids packing up, man. It was so sad.
But where's Virginia in that whole situation where they're packing up? She's nowhere there. She's at work. It's George helping them pack.
Yeah.
Another point. Pen drop for that.
All right, pen drop. I like it. And then, she has a really interesting conversation with Libby, too, because...
I think Libby helped persuade that.
Yeah.
But Libby's not in her right mind now either.
See, and Libby was telling her, if I think it's interesting that Libby knows that they're having this affair, but she was like trying to encourage her not to quit. It was weird. It was like she knows that like.
Well, Libby was saying, live in reality. Stop living the life that you thought that you were going to have, and live the life that you actually do. Accept your reality, accept your fate, and take accountability for it. I think Libby's starting to step up and actually live in the real world because she now knows that she too doesn't want to just be a mom. And so I think that her relationship with Richard is
wait,
is
who's?
it Robert?
Robert. I
was like, wait, did you just make it really formal?
New character.
I knew it was our name, Robert. That her relationship with Robert is now becoming the first taste of not just being seen and being important, because he's also bringing career to her as well. But I think it's just making her be more practical, and so she's giving. But she's not at the same time in her right mind, and she's not giving, I think, Virginia solid advice. Because if it was solid, she'd be telling her to fight for her kids, but instead she's saying fight for your work.
And it's interesting because Libby was thinking, Bill could do the same thing to me, and I think she was thinking about her affair because she was like, now I'm at subject to lose my kids.
But she doesn't care.
But here's the thing. Think about it.
I don't think she thinks he would legitimately take the kids.
If Virginia and Masters kept their work going, Libby could still have an affair with Robert. Just say.
Yeah.
That could be part of the meaning behind her being like, you should keep with it. Keep with it. Keep with it. Please.
Oh, that's right, because if
keep
she's not working anymore, now
so
she
can
get her
little. Yeah, exactly.
So it could have been a selfish reason why she told her to give up the kids and to do her work. And if she also knows that they're having an affair, then that gives her justification for hers. The moment the affair stops, now she can feel guilty.
Yeah.
It could also be a reality check for Virginia to realize times are changing. So stick with the work because it is groundbreaking. I'm probably just really reading into that, but it's groundbreaking. And times people will accept it.
Yeah,
it's like Santa Claus right there, giving her hope.
So speaking of their affair, which has gotten so much more intimate with their mouth kissing, I mean, they're like totally. I can't believe they haven't said "I love you." I really thought they were going to put that out there at the end. So Masters and Virginia watched their interview for CBS. Masters is not happy with it, doesn't want it to air, and they, like a lot of words were, taken out, and then they looped in other language that wasn't theirs. And Masters has this idea that if it's not perfect, it doesn't go. And so Virginia's like, you know what? It goes, and it goes, it's important that we go first no matter what. And I agree with her. I would have put my content out there the way it is before the other one because now they have a competitor. Oh, yeah,
See, I would disagree with that just because because
Yeah.
of the reaction to Master's project and when he showed it at the campus before, he got in trouble for it. I'd rather someone else take the jump, and yeah, it's a risk to see if they fly or they sink, but
Right.
they could sink, and then you can learn from their mistakes.
But
True, I see that point
first
too.
is always the most memorable.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was this, relay race to see who can get there, at first. So I think that the entire reason that they were going to put this out there was for the additional publicity and notoriety, and so then they can be taken more seriously. And Virginia brought up great points of why it should be out there, because
Yeah.
once we have the attention and we have the ears,
Yeah.
now we can put whatever we want, out there.
Yeah.
Why was Hugh Hefner calling?
I have no idea. I have that in my notes, but I'm like,
research.
Hugh Hefner called, and I'm like, well, there's no reason to touch on that because we got nowhere with that.
Yeah.
He got word that they were doing sexual research, I'm assuming.
I guess he's probably like, do you guys need any more participants? And then so Master's able to get a copy of the book and reads it from front to cover.
He makes
right?
a very sketchy phone call.
He
We're
makes
like,
a
"Can
sketch
you-
phone
can you do
call.
it?
He
Can you?"
gets it.
Yeah.
And he reads it and says that I can't believe he ended up getting a copy of it, but you're right. I thought that he got like a legit copy, but it definitely wasn't legit.
No, it wasn't
Um,
proofread yet. Or
And I think that's what makes him rethink the idea of the CBS thing too. He goes in to talk to Virginia about killing the deal, and she tells him that she's just given up her kids, that it's
again,
already a done deal, and that she's going to use the CBS thing and the credit that they'll get from CBS and their sterling reputation to get her kids back, and that it's only temporary. And it's almost like Virginia was out of office and she was like, it's just temporary. It's like she was in denial a little bit, and Masters actually stepped in and said, no, don't do that, get your kids back now, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, knowing full and well that he actually killed the deal, which was insane.
And that's
I
why
did
we
not
see
see
the
that
fear
coming
in his heart. We thought it was that he was really concerned for the well-being of her kids, and that
I did too. I
But
was
he
like,
was-
for the first time he cares about her
Yeah.
kids? No. I was so surprised that he killed the deal. I didn't see that coming. Did you guys see it coming?
I saw him coming in to tell her, as you mentioned, to kind of like, we're going to get rid of, like, don't worry, I have a plan. That's what I saw him coming in for.
Yeah.
And then when she said that I'm putting my kids on the line for this, made it a bigger, I was more pissed with Virginia during that whole scene. Because
Yeah.
she used her kids as a pawn again versus doing it because she loves them.
Right.
It was more for her gain. I'd be like, all right, well, I'll give them to George, and then I'll use them again for my
Right.
own gain with this project that's going to take off.
I know.
It just shows once again her putting what her priority is. Her priority is and will always be the work.
Right.
And so this was just a prime example of, once again, her showing a lack of care about her children's well-being. But like you said, Roy, at the end of the day, they may be better suited in George's household. But it just shows like, gosh, Virginia, you really just don't care.
I know. Well,
It
and
was
then
upsetting.
how interesting was it to see Dr. Kaufman go and air his episode and then see that Ethan was working with him? Like,
We were
oh
like,
my gosh.
Oh.
I was like, burn.
I thought Hugh Hefner was going to pop up, and I was
Oh
like, see,
my
you should have answered that
gosh.
phone call. That's what I thought.
I thought that was a great little twist. I thought
It was
that
an
made it
awesome
even more
twist.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
means
it
Ethan
did.
maybe season 3?
Yeah.
Ethan?
Because
Yeah.
he not only knows their research as well, because he worked with them, he also knew about the affair. Like, Ethan had so much more reason to be associated with Kaufman, because he originally worshipped Dr. Masters before he found out all the stuff going on. He wanted to follow Dr. Masters' footsteps, and Dr. Masters crapped all over Ethan. So what he did was went to Dr. Masters' arch nemesis and teamed up with him, and then came out first. Now we come to find out that he pushed, Dr. Masters helped push that.
Yeah,
But
I
it was
can't
still
even believe
the
it.
ultimate betrayal, because once again he left Virginia in the dark.
Yeah. I love how we all kind of forgot about Ethan, even though they were like at UCLA.
I never forgot about
Yeah, I never
Ethan.
forgot about
Never
Ethan.
forgot about Ethan.
But I never even put 2 and 2 together that Ethan's in LA. This is in UCLA. Maybe he's tied into this.
Totally forgot about
No,
that.
totally thought he was gone. And then we see Masters really come and comfort her about losing her kids. I just used to see their bond is growing so much more. But when he comforts her, he's like, let's get back to work. Let's get back to work. It's like that's their go-to. That's their safe zone, is their work. It's crazy.
See, I took that as a way of like, let's be better than them. Let's kick some butt. Let's do this. Let's find results and show them that they don't have anything. That's what I took out of that. Hopefully it was a pep talk, but it was probably more of a bone talk.
I took it as a disconnect. I think that, once again, just like his own children, he doesn't really care about Virginia's. And Dr. Masters only wants what will progress the study.
Exactly. And when he talked to Barton, in the
Return of
bar
Barton.
at the end, Barton straight told him, like, that was the best speech they've had this season. He was like, you can't just keep running this like it's a one-man show. You know, you never mean to hurt people, but you do.
You create hell for everybody around you.
You blackmailed me.
Yeah.
You told me you're doing your study, and you didn't just tell me, like, you didn't ask. You blackmailed me, and I'm not here to scold you, but geez, like, take a step back, because this study is, like, a craze to him. Like, it really... I mean, he's really going off the deep end here.
Barton said everything that all the viewers are saying in their head about Masters.
Dr. Masters is the most selfish person in the entire world, because when it's revealed to us that he does this behind Virginia's back, it's not even the fact that he killed it. We can understand why you would kill it, because it didn't represent Dr. Masters' study and the work. So we can be in support of that. But to kill it without letting your partner know is another example of the way that Dr. Masters runs his household and his profession and his friendships, which he doesn't really have.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of the part when Barton said for Masters to tell Virginia?
Oh,
that
I was
this was all
like,
their
there's
master
no
plan?
way he can tell Virginia. She would kill him. Like,
Really?
it would end their relationship 200%. Oh, I do not think she would be forgiving at all.
I think she would, because she's all about the work. So if she
no,
knows...
No,
Really?
because she didn't agree with the CBS thing. Like, she was so vocal about it. He didn't, I mean, he was like, oh, you don't want to do the, you want to do the CBS thing? I don't. He went behind her back to do it.
Yeah.
And cut it. And she was baking on that because she was thinking, this is an open forum. I talked to you. We talked to you. We made this decision together. Right? Because that's what I think is public. He, total betrayal.
Well, that's and what makes it even worse is the reason why Virginia would find it unforgivable. Because what you said, Jenna, was that he not only did he do it behind her back, and she lost her kids over it. She gave up her kids over it. I don't even think she would be upset because she lost the kids over it. It would be because he didn't once again show her the respect that she deserves as his partner.
She's like, she's thinking she's an equal, and she,
right.
you know,
so she would be like, oh gosh, I gave up my kids over it. But at the same time, she would be like, dang, you didn't even consult me before you made this decision for our careers.
But Masters could throw that right back at her with the kids thing. You should have consulted with me before you threw your kids out there and made
But that's
your
her
kids a
personal
focus.
life.
No,
That's her
because
personal life.
no.
But she's using her work for her personal life, for her gain in her personal
No,
life.
she
didn't
used
know.
her kids and the job with CBS as an excuse to feel guilt-free for giving them up. So it wasn't really that she was using CBS. She used that as an excuse of why I can give my kids up and not feel guilty about it. Oh, because I'll get them back. So that doesn't make me a horrible mother. That was her way of reasoning with herself. It wasn't, she doesn't really care about getting the kids back. Virginia doesn't like to lose.
Yeah. And then we see them kind of try to take on like a real, like, so what they want is their whole goal now is to find a protocol and a successful procedure for ED, right? Impotence. Like that's what they want. And so they're really trying to like hone in on Lester because they know he's got the issue and they want to make him their little guinea pig. And Masters asked to speak with Lester, and he had asked if he was trying to broach the subject again, and Lester was like, I'm in a relationship now, so I can't be in your study. And he was like, well, are you having successful sex? And he was like, no, that's not a part of our thing. And Masters, so curious that he said this, was like, a relationship with no sex? He's like, it's like basic as breathing. Sex is basic as breathing. He goes, your body will rebel against you if you stop. And so he puts that into Lester's head. And because Lester's kind of submitted to the fact that him and Barb just aren't going to go there. They're going on all these cute little dates. They're, going to watch movies. And he, discusses how frustrated he is with their situation. But then they, like, have a sleepover and they're matching jammies, which is, like, his jammies. I guess he has multiple
Of the same pajamas.
sets
yeah.
of the same jammies. We thought it was cute that they were matching, and I'm surprised it wasn't a big onesie. No, I'm kidding. I love onesies, though. And
You would like onesies.
and they are kind of resigned to it, but then they go on like another date where they see like all this passion and romance.
Yeah, the first movie was Pillow Talk, and it was very fake kind of film, and the second one's more of an artsy, more Lester-like.
Right.
Yeah, and so he really liked that, and so they are sitting down. At the end, we see Masters and Virginia speak to Lester and Barbara about it.
Well, Lester lays a big ol' smooch on Barb.
Oh yeah,
Because
right
he
up
was trying
against
to
the
show
car.
her, like, look, we can still get this passion. We don't have to give up. That was his way of trying to convince her to come back and be a part of whatever Dr. Masters and Virginia's study is going to be.
Yeah.
Which means Masters really got into Lester's head about, like, you're right,
Of course,
I can't.
Dr. Masters is
A little
the king
manipulator.
of manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not Team Masters right now. I'm
Oh, no,
disappointed.
he pissed me off this episode.
Yeah.
I've always...
And I always defend
Like
him,
Timmy,
but not
too.
now.
I'm on Team Masters, not Team Virginia whatsoever.
I'm not on Team Virginia. I'm not on either of their teams. I want their whole study to burn up in flames.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just kidding.
I'm on Team Austin.
Oh my gosh,
Austin.
Austin. Speaking of Austin was pretty much called a dumb blonde this
Right.
episode. So funny. Can I just say I am not a fan of this storyline.
What?
I feel like it is like sexual harassment. I feel like it's like one hair away from rape. Like I just don't like that he's like forced to have sex with this lady that he does not want to have sex with. He looks so uncomfortable in all
But
of
he's
it.
having sex with her. It's
Right.
not,
To keep
And
his
he's-
job at Calametric because he
he
feels
doesn't
like
need that job.
Yeah,
he's
he
a
doesn't need that job.
doctor.
That's vanity.
some reason
it's
he-
vanity that's operating
Yeah.
everything that Austin does. Every single
Right.
thing that Austin, every choice that Austin makes is because of vanity.
I felt
Exactly.
less bad for him this episode because once he found out she was a bigger deal, he tried to throw the relationship at
Right.
her. And he was like, well, you know what, you're just like taking me, running me around, you know, inseminating you and all this stuff. And she was just like, you know, you can't meet my family, you know, and he's like, what, am I not smart enough? And she totally,
Yeah.
you know, calls
That's
him
why
on
I
it.
love Flo's, because she's such a strong woman. She's
Right.
like, I don't need you to be there. I just need you for sexualness.
Right.
If that's
Yeah.
what
He,
term.
he is her little boy toy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Good for
But
her,
I like
I
that
guess,
the roles
now.
were reversed because he's been making her feel as if she was physically inadequate
Yeah.
in his eyes, and now she made him feel like he was mentally inadequate.
Yeah, she totally did a little reversal there, and I didn't know if she was just playing him there. So, any other thoughts on this episode before we go into predictions for season 3? Did we cover everything?
I want to know if Libby and Robert are really in love, if they're falling in love or they're just in lust.
You know, that seems to be so forced. Like she keeps, I don't like that. I wish that it was a little bit more mutual. I feel like she's having to kind of talk him into it a little bit, you know, like she's kind of having to push herself on him. And I feel like Libby hasn't really been genuinely wanted. And I would like it if like Robert was more like, yeah, like,
I don't
I'm
think
gonna-
that he doesn't want her. I think he's just in fear.
Yeah.
Because
I think
during
he is
that
in fear,
time,
yeah, yeah.
It was what they were doing was illegal.
yeah.
Interracial relationships were not allowed.
I kind of want to go back real quick to the part when after Masters reads the book. Do you think he had his plan figured out that he wanted to kill CBS by then? Or do you think it was after Betty talked to him about saying, you know
No.
how you were wearing a tie before? That
Oh, yeah,
wasn't
the
you.
bow
You
tie.
should wear your bow tie. And so be you. Do you think maybe that encouraged her to, or
I
his,
think that maybe he, the whole time, he thought he wasn't going to do the CBS thing. Masters
But he
is
didn't
a
know how to get out.
perfectionist, you know? Like,
Yeah.
he did not like from the get-go that they had put in a set of couples that were actors.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like that. I mean, he didn't like the whole thing going through it. So I'm thinking he thought in his head he was going to kill the whole thing the whole time, with or without reading the book. The book was just probably the stamp on it.
I just wanted to ask that question because
Yeah.
I just remembered Betty asking that or saying that to him about the bow tie.
I don't
and
know
making
if
fun
it
of
was
him.
the Betty thing. I don't know if that was the
No.
strong enough push, but there was a defining moment. I
But
think where he
maybe that was
decided.
a helpful nudge, you
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, you're doing the right thing.
pushing the wrong
Because
direction.
Lester had been in his ear too. Everybody
Yeah.
had kind of. I mean, Lester and Betty had both been in his ear. Virginia was the only person saying, "Do it, do it, do it."
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so what do you guys think? Let's talk some predictions for season 3.
And now,
Spicy, what do you think?
your AFTERBUZZ
So-
TV prediction.
I would like Libby to get pregnant.
Oh my god, I would
with
love
Masters
that.
or
No.
with Robert. I would love
saying.
Libby to get pregnant with Robert and be like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" I would definitely like to see Jocko Sims make a return next season.
Me too.
So fingers crossed. Hopefully,
Yeah,
he will
I don't
be
think
back.
we can not have him.
Because
now.
I think that his love affair with her is an extremely quintessential element to not just the show's storyline,
Yeah.
but also the time period of what's going on historically.
Yeah.
Do you think we're
I
gonna
would
have
love to see that.
a time jump, or do you think
Oh
we're
my
gonna
gosh, of
pick up
course
right
we are.
after
I
this?
wish they would just give us one little tiny caption at the bottom to let us know. Jeez, a little help. Writers, I'm always like into it, and I'm like, oh my God, you're right. It has been 6 weeks. I'm like, 2 years, 6 months, 10
That's
months?
what I like about the show, though. It's very subtle. They don't have to tell you. They show you.
I
versus,
don't
you know.
think that Dr. Masters is going to admit the truth to Virginia. I think
Heck
they're going to
no,
carry
that
on.
would bury
he has
him.
too much to lose if Virginia was upset and
we
didn't
have
want to
to
practice with him
And
anymore.
we have to
Yeah.
remember, Masters ultimately is a coward. You know, like he has
Absolutely.
made so many coward moves. He has not made any like manly, do the right thing moves, except for his patients. So,
Interesting.
with his patients, he always makes the right calls. But in his personal life, it's what you do, you Masters. You do you.
He doesn't
like,
care who he has to destroy
Yeah.
in the process.
Yeah, and that sucks. Like I saw so much selfishness today. I was like, forget it. I'm done. I'm not even watching season 3.
So then I think maybe with that in mind, that for season 3, he's going to do something that's going to really upset Virginia and Libby. And therefore, Libby and Virginia are going to work together to not attack Masters, but kind of put him in the corner.
Yeah.
Does that make
Huh.
sense? Yeah.
Okay, that's a
You
different
know?
way to see it.
They're going to work together against him.
Maybe.
Really?
I like that. I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think I obviously think that we're gonna get an I love you between Masters and Virginia, and I think divorce is coming up in season 3.
Ooh.
The big
Since
D.
they do so much time, they were in the book they were sleeping together about 8 years, and it's been about I don't know 6 or 7 years. I mean, we're getting close to the 8-year mark, you know. So I don't know. That's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody on YouTube and Twitter and iTunes for hanging out with us this season, giving us your commentary. It's been so much fun. Spicy, where can they find you on the off season?
Yes, you guys can always play with my Twitter or stroke my Instagram at spicy_Mari, SPICY_MARI.
And Roya?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Roya. That's HeyRoya. And I'm also on the Outlander and the Saturday Night Live after show.
Woohoo! Spicy, are you in any other shows?
I'm not doing any other ones this season. I just
Okay.
wrapped up Let's Talk About Sex on BHL.
Nice. Okay, cool. And I'm on Twitter at JennaTime Tweets. This is my last show for the season, I believe, as well. Again, just a huge thank you to all the people that have been watching with us. It's been so much fun, and we will see you in next year for season 3. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.